Welcome. I have with me my mentor, Raj. How are
Take no
you, Raj?
responsibility. I'm great, thank you. I take no responsibility for your words or actions, but I'm delighted to be here.
That's your legal background. That's why I love you. You're that little bit of detail that, let's be honest, I'm not. Raj, as one of the finest people in this industry, who has obviously created absolute monsters like the likes of obviously Fixflo is what you will be best known for, and obviously doing tremendously well there. You've been a busy chap though, haven't you, matey? So do you want to give us obviously you just launched, I think, what you're calling the early adopters thing, and you've got a new exciting product called MarketRent, and that you're going to talk to us about.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for inviting me back onto the Kerfuffle show. Um, so, yes, I've been busy. So, this all started with a belief, I might be wrong, that the Renters' Rights Act is going to have some fundamental problems for everybody, landlords, tenants, and agents. And
Countdown. How many days is it? Is it 16? What's it? What's the?
how many days in the month? It's about 16, yes.
Yeah.
And it all started with a desire to try to improve the legislation. So I did some lobbying, meeting MPs, and trying to fix some of the problems that I saw in the legislation.
Yeah.
I think I was told pretty clearly that the government didn't consider there to be problems in the legislation.
There's a shock.
After doing that for about 3 or 4 months, I decided to build a software system to help agents to deal with the problems coming down the track. And that's where Market Rent started. So, in a nutshell, the rent review process is likely to be more contested. It's an asymmetric process. So, in a tenancy, rents can only be reviewed once a year. It's asymmetric. There will be more disputes. How do we stop that? How do we protect people?
We haven't got time for it now, but I do want to hear your stories talking to about talking to the MPs as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting world. I don't think it's my world, and I'm not sure I'm particularly good at it. But
Yeah.
this started with let's try and fix the problem before it happens, and if the problem can't be fixed, let's give people tools to mitigate the problem.
And did you see Nathan Emerson and Ben Beadle bouncing around Westminster as you were there, or?
And both of them are at a different elevation and stratosphere to me. So
Well, thank you for mixing it with the real people like my good self. That's it's appreciated. Okay, so you've given us a bit of an overview there, but crucially, get to the knob of how can it help agents? Well, I mean, obviously there's the compliance angle, but give us some of the jam.
So the whole intent is to avoid the need for tenants to go to a tribunal. Because
Yeah,
if they go to the tribunal, first of all, they have to pay £47, not great. Secondly, it causes a friction in the relationship. But thirdly, the rents are only reviewed from the date of tribunal determination. And if I'm even close to being right, there will be many months of delay at the tribunal. So it's not
yeah,
backdated to the rent review date. And then the next rent review date is set from when the tribunal determines. So the landlord never gets that money back. Plus, there is an increased workload, compliance, and evidence burden on agents at
yeah.
exactly the time they're losing renewal fees and therefore need to wrap more into their fully managed service. And some are doing so at an enhanced rate, so much more of an asset management,
Yeah.
yield
Angle.
management.
Yep.
So we brought all of those ideas together through technology, and the system tracks all of the rent reviews,
Yeah.
reminds people of when they're due, allows comparable evidence to be compiled from the agent's own achieved rents or asking rents, and we're looking at integrations with third-party data providers as well to
Yeah.
enhance that.
Lovely.
Uh, Sets negotiation boundaries, so if the rent should be 1,000, suggesting to the landlord anything over 900 or 950 might be acceptable. You get your landlord's instructions through, again, through the interface, branded as your agency, not us, so it's all white labels, to get those instructions. Then it creates the Form 4 today. On the 1st of May, will be the Form 4A, which is the new Section 13 notice form. The
Yep.
pack sends that to the tenant and allows them to agree or negotiate. And at each stage, it sort of steers them towards a negotiated outcome because I think that's the best outcome for everybody. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and then when it's gone through none or multiple rounds of negotiation, all of that's documented, compiled, agreed, and stored. We've got CRM integrations coming down the track. Um,
Lovely. Lovely. Nice to hear.
you do like a bit of integration. So Vico Plus by Eurolink is our first integration partner, and we have another three in the pipeline who we'll be announcing in due course.
Okay, and you'll be doing that exclusively on Kerfuffle first because I've trapped you now. Right, pipeline. Let's talk about pipeline. So I was going to, I had the grand plans as I always do, to ask you to do a demonstration. But the other thing was, we were talking just last week, and I was getting obviously very excited. You've been kind of to keep me up to date with this, and unusually for me, I've managed to keep my mouth shut and not actually blab it before doing it. So, but you were looking for some early adopters to give you feedback, weren't you, in terms of there? But actually, just with your obviously it being a Raj product, as they say, it's fair to say you don't need those 10 early adopters that you had because you've actually just been blown away by the amount of inquiries already, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been amazing, and I think what we've seen is idea market fit, and we're just trying to refine the product market fit. So yesterday we opened our early adopter program. We wanted 10 agencies of varying sizes, shapes,
Yep.
locations to use the platform to try to break it in return for 6 months of free access
Yep.
before we do the full market launch. It's a pretty standard and sensible thing to do. In the first 24 hours, we got 70 plus inquiries
Seven
from
zero. Seven
70
zero. Yeah.
who between them have over 400,000 properties. And so now
Brilliant.
we're working our way through that.
So
Um,
just on that, actually, fuck this. I don't know why you're coming to me. Can you advise me how to launch stuff?
uh, I don't think it was sort of a halo effect from Fixflo or what we've done before. So I built this with Duncan, my co-founder at Fixflo.
Yeah.
What we've really centered on is there is an urgent need for agents to get their rent review processes sorted. There is no tool out in the market that delivers that end-to-end outcome, and the feedback's been really positive. There are some agencies who've said, "Look, please, yes, once you've got integration with X or Y,
Yeah.
or yes, once you've got the third-party comparables in there, particularly for smaller agencies that don't have the depth of comparables, or they operate in very localized markets." But by and large, the feedback has been positive, and we're looking forward to going through the early adopter. We're now running a waitlist program,
Yeah.
uh, uh, so we can get information and contact people at the appropriate stage if they need integration, if they don't need integration, what they need, and then we'll be doing a full rollout in the next few weeks.
Nice. And look, you did. I thought you were going to bump me because, as you said, you've been basically just demoing from dawn till dusk, haven't you? So I was going to ask you. We like to keep these ones punchy these days in terms of, I was going to ask you to give a bit of a demo, but I actually had one last week, and you've done so many now. It looks really good anyway. We'll do that in a follow-up session. I think today is. I mean, look, I'm as you know, I'm like a success remora fish. If I can spot anybody doing well, I obviously latch onto them. And so we've been, since you kept me updated on this, it's just such a no-brainer. We're going to obviously be working with you as a strategic partner, obviously on the relocation agent side of things. So very exciting there. We're going to be sharing this out with all of our members. I know you've got this kind of waitlist thing, but we'll obviously get people to, if you are interested, guys, will reach out to us first in the first instance, or we'll come up with a form for you to fill in, and then Raj will let you know when he can get you into the mix, because I think that's going to be very exciting there. So, how do you see it going further forwards as well? I think you said going forwards there's going to be things like landlord and tenant modules as well.
So we've built the most complex approach, which is where there is a landlord, a tenant, and an agent.
Yep.
Uh, because I think that's the right way to build it, although I might be wrong. We're then going into the build to rent sector, although we've got a build to rent operator in our early adopter program, so it's not entirely right for that market, but it's right enough. So then you take out things like landlord approvals because the operator acts as the landlord. I think that there is a lot of work and help that can be given to self managing landlords and tenants as well. What we see is effectively a platform sat in the middle of the sector,
Yep.
streamlining this process, because otherwise the tribunal system's going to break, and that's
I was
terrible.
I was going to say, is there going to be a tribunal tsunami? I mean, after May the 1st, are we going to just see that, or is it going to be a damp squib? What do you think?
I'll put my colours to the mast and say I think it's going to be a tsunami. So last year
Right.
there were, they don't track the numbers accurately enough, but 700 to 800 cases.
Yeah.
If it is not many orders of magnitude larger than that, I would be shocked. And with the orders of magnitude larger, that burden will fall predominantly on the letting agency property management team.
There. So again, this is one of those wonderful ones where actually you're providing a solution to a problem that it might not exist today, but in a matter of days, it's going to be a massive issue.
Yes, that's exactly it. So um, and I think there are very few agencies that haven't thought about the Renters' Rights Act.
Yeah,
What we're finding is a sort of 50-50 split about whether they've thought about the rent review implications of the Renters' Rights Act,
yeah,
because there are so many other changes for them to get around. The
yeah.
change in tenancy, the advertising price, pets, so many things that this seems to have fallen a little by the wayside for some agencies when they're thinking about their operational processes.
And they need to get it on the radar very quick, don't they? Realistically, okay, cool. Look, let me go. I'm down and dirty, but I keep it real. What have you thought? Is this early adopter thing to assess the level of support needed and work before coming up with the pricing model, or do you have a ballpark on that at the moment? Where are you up to on that side of things?
So the purpose of the early adopter program is to identify edge cases. So we've
Yeah,
done loads of testing and lots of meetings with agencies, large and small, as we've been developing the product to get
yeah,
feedback. But it's only when it gets into the hands of people that there are things that come out, and we don't know what those things are. Otherwise, we would have built it already. So the intent is get it into people's hands, get told, have you thought
yeah.
about this particular use case, or how do you do this, or that's not quite right. And we're expecting that to be a 3-week process. Uh,
Okay.
so it's a sort of the final polish.
Yeah.
Um, After that, pricing will be based on the number of managed properties per month.
Yep.
I don't know what the amount is yet. We're working that out. In part, it depends on onboarding, support, and other. What does it cost? And if there are any third-party costs associated, whether for data or for integration, they'll have to feed into the pricing model.
Okay, all makes sense. All sounds sensible. So, anything I haven't asked, or that somebody clever like Christopher Watkins would ask that I've missed off?
Christopher Watkin wouldn't have asked this, but I'd love if I asked myself the question, how do I find out more? Where do I go? What should
Yeah.
I do next? It is go to www.marketrent.co.uk.
Yeah.
Have a look at the website. Click on the join the waitlist, which currently says early adopter because I haven't had time through the demos to change it, but it's
Lovely.
the same thing. We'd love to show you the platform. If you're using Vico Plus by Eurolink, then you will go very far up that list because that integration is almost complete.
Yeah.
Uh, and then other CRM integrations will be coming. But if you would like an integrated solution, then just let us know what you're using so we can contact you at the right time.
Perfect. And we're obviously going to be doing a product demo on here, aren't we? Getting your pages set up and everything else. But I think that's really, really exciting. Well, look, can't wait to see obviously how it goes. And again, just to make the point, I will be there on your coattails. So, Raj, for today, thank you very much, and keep us updated.
Thank you, Simon. Cheers.
Cheers, matey. Bye bye.